Hello everyone, my name is Jeff Hill. Theta47 is my world building tutorial project designed to help everyone who is interested create better and more diverse world building. Because to be quite honest, it's gotten quite stale in my opinion. That is not to say there aren't any good ideas out there in the mainstream or yet to be actualized. It's just that I see so much of the same and very familiar themes, from all too common tropes rehashing in familiar ways, to the taking of ideas and either doing them exactly the same or with a slant. And perhaps the worst of all, in my opinion, is hardly ever establishing a unique environment. I am not talking about alien worlds or cultures. I'm talking about something so much larger than all of that. I am talking whether or not it is intentional or not, sticking with the same old, familiar ideas. I'll elaborate more on that in this video, but first, there are some things I need to get out of the way first. The first thing I want to get out of the way is my approach to world building. I am very nuanced and get in depth right away from the start. That being said, my approach isn't for everyone. As you will see in the next video, luckily my approach isn't the only one out there. Another thing is that I never will tell you how to do things, rather I give you some things to consider when making your world. Firstly, I start off with the definitions I am using, which will be used throughout, whether mine or established, followed by an in-depth descriptions, where such examples are likely to be found, a comprehensive list of things to consider, pros and cons of things being discussed, and lastly, media and literary examples that I'm familiar with. This is what I am tired of seeing, especially because I feel we can do a lot better. The biggest thing I am tired of seeing are constant reiterations of our universe, and some bizarre, unexplained instance where humans are far reaching beyond the Earth. I tend to recognize, aside from terraforming to the extreme, humanity is not capable of existing elsewhere. It's just a personal thing for me. Two offenders of this are Star Wars and Stargate 1. Don't get me wrong, they are very fun to watch, but it's just an issue I have. Stargate 1 is better about this by saying that humans were transported to the worlds with similar environments, but the plants and animals are not going to be fit for human consumption. And whenever we go to another world, it's only a visit for whatever reason, including universes. Same species, different but similar economic, political, and religious systems, and also the copying of ideas, real and fictional, with rarely any consideration for the intricacy that the environment demands upon not only the former three, but society as well. Don't get me wrong, creators do think of this, but not enough to fully satisfy me. For those of you asking, am I doing my best to put out original content? Yes, I am. Not everything will be original as far as projects. I do like writing about mythology, for instance. But I am also working on my own world building projects, and will shortly let everyone know when I finally put it out. That being said, not everything needs to be original. The best stuff sometimes comes from what we know from everyday life. This is what I'm hoping we will see more of. In other words, I love variety. I think a lot of us do. And consistency and adherence to the lesser and greater environments. I am in the camp that a strong built world begins with the foundations. More on that later in this video. And like a lot of you, must prefer adherence to the rules established in that world. But I am also of the camp that the foundations influence everything in the world, down to the smallest, most insignificant detail. As we get into the video content surrounding the foundations, you will see what I mean. And if you are going to run with the idea, you must stay committed to the idea in terms of adherence and consistency. Again, I realize that there are creators who do so. For me, my hat goes off to the Dune series, Lord of the Rings for sure, and the Avatar: Last Airbender. I want to see character arcs that adhere to those worlds, different unique perspectives that humanity would not often think of, brought about by the worlds created, and consistency to the world building. Offenders include the Star Wars sequel series, and Naruto, and yes, The Legend of Korra is included in that number too. This is what we'll be going over in the long run. This will be a long process to be sure. You can either take it all as a whole, a video at a time, or you can buzz in for topics that interest you. Overreaching topics we'll cover include the foundations, nature and resource nuances, geography, flora and fauna nuances, biological nuances, lifespans, magic and assistance, social nuances, knowledge, religion, scripture, politics, economics, technology, empires and nations, the sciences, the supernatural, historical nuances, cultural nuances, language, and lastly, realms, dimensions, and the multiverse. The foundations. We will be starting off with the foundations of any universe, or as I refer to them, cosmological systems. The foundations, of course, extend beyond the system and are the scaffolding to which all else is built around in the world building process. Many of you may have a different set of foundations, that is fine. But for the purposes of using these videos, we will use the model established by Theta47. The foundations are thus: universe type, foundational forces, the cosmic environment, the environment, magic basics, time, species specs, flora and fauna, resources, the supernatural, and finally wildcards. The difference between the universe and the cosmos. We sometimes use these terms interchangeably, but they aren't, at least not according to the astronomers and cosmologists. The universe refers to our local region of space, as big as it may be. The cosmos, by extension, is everything that exists as far as space is concerned. So, by extension, that includes the multiverse as well. What is a universe? The classical definition entails the whole of all matter, energy, planets, galaxies, and space. The universe literally means one spoken phrase. My definition going forward for what a universe, or rather a cosmological system, means: a self-contained, self-sustaining super environment whose parts consist of either collective environments, say a series of galaxies and their respective parts, and or lesser environments, say a solar system to a galaxy, that is bound to some aspect of time and is generational, meaning its predecessor and successor systems or phases. What the cosmological system needs. This isn't the scientific consensus, rather it's just my opinion. A force of attraction doesn't need to be consistent, but needs to keep things together. It must be born capable of decay. There must be some temporal element. It must have its own balance of matter to energy. The system needs to be dynamic. The energy needs to be dynamic. It needs forces that allow for particle energy stability. And it needs to be generational. Not necessarily like a phoenix, or a replacement even, but it needs to allow for a transition of new systems, or at the least new phases to emerge. Cosmological systems. Each of the cosmological system types will require their own individual videos. These are merely examples I've either come across or came up with. Feel free to steal. I have no claim to them. Being said, more varieties could most certainly exist. To be honest, I always felt the multiverse has the potential to create these as you will, to which I am a proponent thereof. There are different classifications of systems: structural, phase, mechanic, and how it affects on other systems. So any system can be more than one type. the types of cosmological systems. The following are the types of cosmological systems we'll go over: the star system, the oceanic, the cannibal, the inverted systems, land, parasitic, Engon, veiled, ghost or higher vibration, interdimensional void, present, supernatural, mechanical, plague, cosmos within the cosmos, void, the classics, procreating, bion, and wildcards. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. On the next video, we will cover the star system, our structure type. As usual, like and subscribe. Everybody have a nice day. Bye.